Hi everyone, my name's Greg Bennett. I'm holding one of the all solid wood acoustics in the Greg Bennett guitar line. I'll see if I can give you the model number. It's an ASMJRCE, which stands for all solid medium jumbo rosewood, sides and back, cutaway electric. Actually, there's method in the madness. It all means something. I'm going to take you through the various features and benefits of this instrument, and we'll just start up here at the headstock. The headstock is sort of our signature offset design, and that has been great in defining who we are. But there's also some great mechanical advantages that a headstock allows you to pick up on. You'll notice that most of our headstocks are a bit smaller, and that reduced size reduces the resonance surface of that headstock. And anytime you reduce resonance, what you're doing is actually allowing that energy that caused that surface to move. You're keeping that energy on the string, so you automatically pick up performance qualities like attack and sustain and just general power. You'll also notice that our machine heads or tuners are configured to converge rather than to flare, and that gives us a bit of a straight string pull through the nut. And anybody who's ever been tuning and gets that click or that little snag, this design prevents that. We also use a graphite type nut, which is a wonderful material that gives you a nice tone, nice warm tone, but also it's almost as if it's a little bit lubricated, so the string slides through the slot really easily. You'll also notice that we cock the headstock back, and that by cocking the headstock back, you wind up increasing the string angle over the nut, and that increased string angle increases the string bearing pressure. And anytime you improve that contact or you strengthen that contact, you keep the energy on the string. It doesn't come up to that point and sort of dissipate past it. So again, it enhances the string performance. Also, because they're a bit light, or smaller I should say, they're a bit lighter, so it's just more comfortable on stage. We use these beautiful Grover machine heads, gold in this case, and Grover was the very first machine head company that really specialized in precision tuning. And anybody with a good ear is going to appreciate that, because the finer that ratio, I believe it's 13:1, it just allows you greater accuracy in your tuning. Let's move up to the neck and the fingerboard. We're using a NATO wood on the neck, which is a mahogany type material, which is really great because it's a strong material, but it's a beautiful sounding tone wood. So we maintain the strength, but we don't wind up with a sharp or tinny sound. The fingerboard is rosewood, and that is just an ideal material because it's very dense and very oily. So not only do you pick up performance characteristics because of the hardness, it's not taking energy off the string, but that oiliness, the fact that a fingerboard is unfinished for any kind of fretwork that somebody might want to do, it just stands up to the elements and it just feels great. This particular instrument, I don't know if you can catch that on camera, but that binding along the edge of the fingerboard is flamed maple, and it is just exquisite. Again, I always like to say Mother Nature at her finest. We use a slotted square, some people refer to it as a snowflake inlay, but it's got a really nice sort of vintage look to it. As you come down to the end of the fingerboard, we contour the end of it so it sort of silhouettes the sound hole, and that just gives a really nice finished look. It's not a square fingerboard there up against that round hole. In addition, this particular neck is a three-piece neck, 3 pieces of laminate, and what that allows us to do is position the grain structure in those various pieces of wood so that they oppose each other. And then when the elements, which this pretty much is guaranteed, are going to want to make the material move in one direction or another, those various members oppose one another, and it just has a tremendous effect on the stability of the instrument. We also have what some people refer to as a French heel. It's a broad heel that makes wonderful contact to the body, and anytime you can create stability in that neck joint, you add to the rigidity of the instrument, and that improves the string performance. Going all the way down to the end of the string, we have a rosewood fingerboard, and I've rounded the corners here, and that eliminates any kind of stress cracking you can get. There's nothing sadder than looking at some beautiful vintage instrument with the cracks coming out from the edge of the bridge, and try to give it a nice soft feel that's sort of in line with the contours of the instrument. The sound hole has got an abalone type binding as well as on the top. We also have the flame maple binding around the body, which is just beautiful. I try to put a little bit of a softer roll on that as well as on the neck, and of course it makes the guitar feel softer in your hand, and even when you're holding it, it doesn't have that harsh edge to it. The top, which is clearly the most important element in the guitar in terms of tone. I mean, this actually acts like a speaker cone, and it is the part of the instrument that is really pumping the air. The sound hole literally is a port that lets that top breathe. We use spruce on this instrument, and spruce has a very clear, powerful primary high end, so you get nice definition and nice clarity. And it also pushes the bass. It's sort of biased towards the bass end. So if you're a passionate player and you really love to belt out a tune, spruce is just a great, great material for that. You get the definition, you get the power in the low end, you get the cut. This instrument is also, sides and back are made out of rosewood. And as I mentioned in talking about the fingerboard, rosewood is a dense wood. It generates, the tone characteristics are just tons of bass. People usually don't mention the fact that there's a nice high end or a nice brightness to it because there is so much bass, but it just gives you an instrument with a lot of power and a lot of warmth in the low end. So when you combine those two materials, you get sort of, again, if you're that passionate player, you sort of get the best of both worlds. We have a compensated saddle on here, and we use, in this case, rosewood bridge pins, which just sort of complete the visual package. There is a Florentine cutaway, and again, I just love that large cutaway. You have easy access up to the top of the neck, and for those finger pickers, they love that. This guitar is in the medium jumbo body shape, which is sort of just a scaled down version of a large jumbo, and what it does sonically, that tighter waist almost acts a little bit like a governor, so you get a great controlled sound with lots of definition. This guitar is also equipped with the Fishman electronics, and there's a 4-band graphic. You have control, you can boost or cut your bass, your mids, your primary highs, or brilliance, which is that super high end. So if you're somebody that likes a lot of jangle on the top end, or player that maybe likes to hear the pick glancing across the strings, you can push that brilliance, that ultra high end. For most people, sculpting your own signature sound is going to be based on what you do with the mid-range, which either cleans it up and makes the bass and the high end prominent, or kind of just puts tons of warmth in the mids. And again, that sort of is the key to getting your particular sound worked out. This instrument also, the solid woods, come in a variety of shapes. There's a dreadnought available, which the bluegrass guys love and the folk guys love. And we also do it in mahogany, which offers a bit of a balance. It's not so weighted towards the low end or the high. It's a nice even sound, which always gives players the ability to sort of, based on the way you play, you can manipulate the tone a bit and sort of push the bass or push the treble as you learn how the guitar works. So the solid woods are a series of instruments that we're really, really proud of. It's just a tremendous value, and check one out. So we've just discussed all the features in this guitar, and why don't we plug one in and see what it'll do.